This is the EdExcel GCSE 91 Maths paper 3 from the foundation tier, and this is from the Specimen set 2 papers. Question number 1, we have to change 4,500 grams to kilograms. Well, to go from grams to kilograms, we would have to divide by 1,000, and to go from kilograms to grams we would have to multiply by 1,000, and therefore we need to divide 4,500 by 1,000, leaving us with 4.5. So we have 4.5 kilograms, which is equivalent to 4,500 grams. Question number 2, we have to write 0.19 as a fraction. Well, if I type in 0.19 into my calculator and then press equals, the calculator automatically displays for us the equivalent fraction of 0.19. That is 19 over 100. Question number 3, we have to write down an even number that is a multiple of 7. First of all, for the multiples of 7, we've got 7, 14, 21, 28, so on and so forth. An example of an even multiple of 7 would be 14 or 28, and so on and so forth. So we could write down 14. Question number 4. On the grid we have to draw a parallelogram. Here is an example of a parallelogram. This side is parallel to this side. This is parallel to this. Question number 5, we have to write 3/5 as a percentage. Well, to convert this fraction to a percentage, I need to multiply by 100. So I've got 3/5, and then I multiply this by 100. So I have 100 divided by 5, which is 20. Multiplying that by 3, we get 60. So we end up with 60%. Question number 6, coffee is sold in jars. There are 200 grams of coffee in each jar. Ben makes 8 cups of coffee each day. He thinks he uses 2 grams of coffee to make each cup of coffee. Ben wants to buy enough coffee for 28 days. How many jars of coffee does Ben need to buy? Well, he uses 8 cups of coffee each day, and we know that there's 2 grams of coffee in each cup. So from this sentence, what we can conclude is we require 16 grams of coffee per day. And that's because 8 times by 2 is 16. Now, he wants to buy enough coffee for 28 days. So, for 28 days, we would have 28 multiplied by 16, which is equal to 448 grams. So in 28 days we require 448 grams. Now, if one jar, we've got 200 grams in it, how many grams do we need? Well, we need 448, so how many jars do we need in that case? Well, the calculation we would have to do is 448 divided by 200, which is equal to, well, we get 2.24 joules, which is approximately equal to 3 joules. So we require 3 joules. Next, Ben finds that he uses 2.5 grams of coffee to make each cup of coffee. How does this affect the number of jars of coffee he needs to buy? You must give a reason for your answer. Well, if we carry out the same procedure, so per day we use 2.5 grams and we're using it for 8 days, so 8 times by 2.5, that's 20. So we've got this time 20 grams per day, and then for 28 days we would have to do 28 multiplied by 20 grams, which is 560 grams, so this is for 28 days. And therefore, if we do the calculation, 560 divided by 200, we get 2.8 joules. In other words, we need 3 joules, which is the same as what we got before. So what can we say about this? Well, there would be no effect, because we still require 3 joules. Question number 7, we have to write down 3 different factors of 18 that add together to give a prime number. Well, the factors of 18, 1 times by 18 gives 18, 2 times by 9 gives 18, and 3 times by 6 gives 18. Now, a prime number is a number which has factors of 1 and itself. And if I add together the 2, the 3, and the 6, what would I get? Well, 2 plus 3 plus 6, this is equal to 11. 11 is a prime number, it's only got factors of 1 in itself. So possible numbers we could write down will be 2, 3, and 6. Question number 8. A model plane has a length of 17 centimeters. The scale of the model is 1 to 200. We have to work out the length of the real plane, give your answer in meters. So the ratio model to real is 1 to 200. We are told from the question the model has length 17 centimeters. To find out what the real length is, we would have to multiply by 17. And if I multiply by 17, we end up with 3,400 centimeters. And now what we have to do is convert 3,400 centimeters into meters. We do that by dividing by 100. And so if I divide by 100, we get 3.4 meters. Question number 9. For part A, we have to find the value of the cube root of 97.336. Typing the cube root of 97.336 into our calculator, we get 4.6. Then for the next part, we have to find the value of the square root of 7.29 plus, then in brackets, 2.3 minus 0.85 squared. So I've got the square root of 7.29 plus, open bracket, 2.3 minus 0.85 close bracket squared. We get a value of this, which is the same as 4.8025. Question number 10. The stem and leaf diagram gives information about the speeds of 27 cars. For part A, we have to find the median speed. Well, what we need to do here is cross off from either end till we get to the middle. So those cancel. Then we've got this. Then this, and this, and we continue on till we find the median. So the median in this case is equal to 56. Now we have to working out the range. Well, what we need is the biggest number, 70, take away the smallest number, 38. So for the range, we have 70 take away 38, which is equal to 32. So we have 32 miles per hour. And then one of the cars is chosen at random. Jack says the probability that the speed of this car is more than 60 miles per hour is a third. And Jack is wrong, we have to explain why. Well, how many cars do we have above 60 miles per hour? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars with a speed of more than 60 miles per hour. And therefore, out of the 27 cars, we have 8 of them with a speed more than 60 miles per hour, and this fraction does not equal 1/3. So therefore, Jack is wrong. Question number 11. You can use this graph to change between litres and gallons. Which is greater, 60 litres or 12 gallons? So what we can do is find out how many gallons 60 litre is. What we can do is find out what 30 litres is, say. And if we find out what 30 litres is, you will find 30 litres to equal, read across, 6.6. So we know that 30 litres equals 6.6 gallons. And therefore, if I multiply this by 2, 60 litres is equal to, well, 6.6 times 2 is 13.2. So 60 litres is the same as 13.2 gallons, which is clearly bigger than 12 gallons. So which is greater? Well, that will be 60 litres. Question number 12. Ibra buys 3 kilograms of apples. He also buys 0.4 kilograms of mushrooms. The total cost is £6.93. 1 kilogram of apples cost £1.95. We have to work out the cost of 1 kilogram of mushrooms. So, what we know is 1 kilogram of apples is equal to a cost of £1.95. Now he buys 3 kilograms worth of apples. So what we can do is find out the cost of this. We can multiply £1.95 by 3 to get £5.85. So 3 kilograms of apples cost £5.85. So what we have is 3 kilograms of apples costing £5.85 plus some cost of the mushrooms, we'll call it M. This is equal to £6.93, which means the cost of the mushrooms is equal to £1.08. So we've got 0.4 kilograms of mushrooms equaling £1.08. What we need to do is find out the cost of 1 kilogram of mushrooms. And we can do this by dividing by 0.4. So if I do £1.08 divided by 0.4, we get 2.7. So 1 kilogram of mushrooms would cost £2.07. Question number 13. ABC is a straight line, BCD is a triangle, and ABDE is a quadrilateral. For part A, we have to work out the value of x. Well, x is equal to, well, to find out what x is, we know that angles in a triangle sum to 180. So we have 30 plus x plus 35 equals 180. So we have x plus 65 equals 180. And from this, we can find out what x is. X is equal to 115. Now we have to find the value of y. Well, to find the value of y, we can find the angle DBA. The angle DBA is 180 take away 115, which is 65. So this angle here is 65 degrees. And that's because angles in a straight line sum to 180. And now we've got a quadrilateral, and we know that the angles in a quadrilateral sum to 180. So I've got y plus 95 plus y plus 65 equals 360. So we've got 2y plus 160 equals 360. Subtracting 160 from both sides, 2y is equal to 200, and dividing both sides by 2, y is therefore equal to 100. So I've got 100 for y. Question 14. You can use this rule to work out the total cost in pounds of hiring a carpet cleaner. We multiply the number of days by 7.8 and then add 12. Andy hires a carpet cleaner. The total cost is £82.20. We have to work out the number of days Andy hires the carpet cleaner for. So let's suppose that the number of days is x. What we do with x is we multiply it by 7.8. And that's because of what we were told in this. We multiply the number of days by 7.8, and then we add on 12, as we see here. And we know that the total cost is £82.20. So if I subtract 12 from both sides, you will find 7.8x to equal £70.20. And if I divide both sides by 7.8, well, 70.20 divided by 7.8 is 9. So we have 9 days. Then Chloe hires a carpet cleaner for y days. The total cost is £2. We have to write down a formula for t in terms of y. Well, t, the total cost, will equal 7.8. So remember, we multiply the number of days by 7.8, and the number of days here is y, and then we add 12. So t equals 7.8y plus 12. Question number 15. There are 35 pens in a box. 15 of the pens are green. The rest of the pens are red. What fraction of the pens in the box are red? Well, the number of red pens, well, we've got 35 pens in total. 15 of them are red, while the 15 of them are green. So we have 20 red pens, and therefore for the fraction we have 20 out of 35, and this is equal to 4/7. So we've got 4/7. Then for part B, we have to write down the ratio of the number of green pens to the number of red pens in its simplest form. Well, we've got 15 green and we've got 20 red, so the ratio of green to red is equal to 15 to 20, and if I divide both sides by 5, we end up with 3 to 4. Question number 16. Ross rolled an ordinary dice 30 times. The frequency table gives information about his results. Ross worked out the mean score as 8. We have to explain why it's impossible for the mean score to be 8. Well, the score has a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 6. So, the scores have values between 1 and 6, and so the mean cannot be greater than the highest score of 6. Then Graham also worked out the mean score. His is working, so he did 1 times 7 plus 2 times 5 plus 3 times 4 plus 4 times 4 plus 5 times 6 plus 6 times 4, which is 99. That bit's correct. We multiply the score by the frequency, so we've got 7 with a score of 1, 5 with a score of 2, 4 with the score of 3, 4 with the score of 4, 6 with the score of 5, and 4 with the score of 6. So you added those numbers up correctly to get 99, and then he did 99 divided by 6, which is 16.5, and concluded that the mean score is 16.5. We have to describe the mistake Graham made in his method to work out the mean score. Well, we shouldn't be dividing by 6, we should divide by 30. So the reason we divide by 30 instead is because we roll the dice 30 times. Question number 17. Amelia, Hayden and Sophie did a test. The total for the test was 75 marks. Amelia got 56% of the 75 marks, Hayden got 8 out of 15 of the 75 marks, and Sophie got 43 out of 75 marks. Who got the highest mark? You must surely working. Well, if I find out the mark that Amelia got, well, we've got 56% of 75. So if I work this out, well, what I need to do here is 0.56 times 75, we get 42. She got 42 marks. If we take a look at the number of marks Hayden got, well, we've got 8/15 of 75. So if I work out what this is, we get 40 marks. And what we know, Sophie got 43 marks. So who got the highest number of marks? So Sophie got the highest marks. Question number 18. The diagram shows the positions of two churches, A and B. Amber says, the bearing of church B from church A is 25 degrees. Amber's wrong, we have to explain why. Well, what we can see is bearings are measured clockwise. So that's shown by the direction of this arrow. And what Amber did wrong was she measured the bearing anti-clockwise. Question number 19. There are only blue counters, green counters, red counters and yellow counters in a bag. George is going to take at random a counter from the bag. The table shows the probabilities that George will take a blue counter or a green counter or a yellow counter. What we have to do is find the probability that George will take a red counter. Now let's call the probability of getting a red X. What we know about probability is probability adds up to 1. So I've got 0.5 plus 0.2 plus X, the probability of red, plus 0.25. This is all equal to 1. So I've got 0.95 plus X equals 1, which means X is 0.05. The probability of red is 0.05. Let's add this to the table here. Next, there are 120 counters in the bag. We have to work out the number of green counters in the bag. Well, what we need to do is multiply the 0.2, which is the probability of selecting a green, by 120. This will tell us the number of green we've got, which is 24. Question number 20, we have to show the inequality -2, which is less than or equal to x, which is less than 3 on the number line below. Well, here's that solution. For the weak inequality, we fill the circle. For the strong inequality, we do not fill the circle. For part B, we have to solve 4y plus 7 being less than 16. Well, subtracting 7 from both sides, you will find 4y to be less than 9. And if I divide both sides by 4, you will find y to be less than 9/4. Now as a decimal that's 2.25, so we have y being less than 2.25. Question number 21. Here are the first 5 terms of an arithmetic sequence. We have to find an expression in terms of n for the nth term. Well, the difference between each term will be the same. That is plus 4. So we would have a 4n, and if we add 4, then the 0th term can be obtained by subtracting 4. Negative 3 subtract 4 is negative 7. So we have 4n subtract 7. Question number 22. The ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls in the school is 4 to 5. There's 95 girls in the school. We have to work out the total number of students in the school. So we've got the ratio of boys to girls being 4 to 5. What we are told are there are 95 girls, so I would have to multiply 5 by 19 to get 95, which means I also have to multiply the 4 by 19 to get 76. So there's 76 boys. So therefore, for the total, we would have 76 plus 95, which is equal to 171. Question number 23. The diagram represents a solid made from 7 centimeter cubes, and on the centimeter grid below we have to draw a plan for the solid. Well, when we talk about the plan, we're talking about the region shown shaded here. We're looking at the shape from the top. So if I draw that shape, we end up with this here. Question number 24. We have to make t the subject of the formula y equals t over 3 minus 2a. Well, first thing we can do is add 2a to both sides. And if I do that, we will end up with y plus 2a equals t over 3. And now what we can do is multiply both sides of this equation by 3. And if we do that, what we end up with is t equals 3 multiplied by y plus 2a. So we have t equals 3 multiplied by y plus 2a. Question number 25. Jim rounds a number x to one decimal place. The result is 7.2. We have to write down the error interval. Well, the lower bound of this number is 7.15, and this will be less than or equal to x, which will be less than the upper bound, 7.25. Question number 26. Katie measured the length and the width of each of 10 pine cones from the same tree. She used her results to draw the scatter graph, and for part A we have to describe one improvement Katie can make to her scatter graph. Well, what we can do is start the axis over here. So we could start the graph at 4, 3 instead of the origin. Then the point representing the results for one of the pine cones is an outlier. So the point which is an outlier will be this point here. We have to explain how the results for this pine cone differ from the results of the other pine cones. Well, what we can see, we've got a really large length but a relatively small width. So its width is small for its length, which is why it's an outlier. Question number 27. At a depth of x meters, the temperature of the water in an ocean is T degrees C. At depths below 900 meters, T is inversely proportional to x. T is given by T equals 4,500 over x. For part A, we have to work out the difference in the temperature of the water at a depth of 1,200 meters and the temperature of the water at a depth of 2,500 meters. Well, when x is equal to 1,200, we can find out what T is. T is equal to 4,500 divided by 1,200. So if I work out what this is, we get 3.75 degrees C. When x is equal to 2,500, T is equal to 4,500 divided by 2,500, and here we get 1.8 degrees C. So the difference is 3.75 subtract 1.8, which is 1.95. So we have 1.95 degrees C. Next, here are four graphs. We've got graph A, B, C and D. One of the graphs could show that T is inversely proportional to x. Write down the letter of this graph. Well, if T is inversely proportional to x, we've got T equaling some constant k divided by x, and that would correspond to graph D. Question number 28. Here is a right angle triangle. Four of these triangles are joined to enclose the square ABCD as shown. We have to show that the area of the square ABCD is x squared plus y squared. So what we'll do is we'll add on the lengths. We've got the shorter length x, so I've got x here, here, here and here, and I've got the larger length here, y. So I've got y here, here, here and here. So what we can do first of all is find out the area of one of these triangles. So the area of one of the triangles, we've got 1/2 times by x times by y, half xy, and therefore the area of four of these triangles, we would have 4 multiplied by 1/2 xy, which is equal to 2 xy. Now what I can do is find out the area of the largest square. The area of the largest square, we've got x plus y all squared. So I've got x plus y times another x plus y, so we end up with x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. And if I work that out quickly at the side, I've got x plus y times x plus y. So x times by x gives the x squared. X times by y gives xy. And then I've got another y times x, so that gives the 2xy. And then I've got y times by y, which gives y squared. So this is the area of the largest square. And to find out the area of the square ABCD, I need to do the largest square, subtract 4 of those triangles. So the area of the triangle, the square ABCD, I've got x squared plus 2xy plus y squared, subtract 2xy, and it turns out we get x squared plus y squared, and that's exactly what I wanted to show. Question number 29. The diagram shows an oil tank in the shape of a prism. The cross-section of the prism is a trapezium. The tank is empty. Oil flows into the tank. After 1 minute, there are 300 litres of oil in the tank. Assume that oil continues to flow into the tank at this rate. We have to work out how many more minutes it takes for the tank to be 80% full of oil. We are given that 1 meters cubed is equal to 1,000 litres. So what we can do is find out the volume of this tank. For the volume of this tank, well, we've got the area of the trapezium, so what we need to do first of all is find the area of this trapezium. We've got 1/2 times by the sum of the two parallel sides, so that's 1.4 plus 3. And then I times that by the height of 2.4. But then what I need to do is multiply this by this 2.5 meters. And if I work out what this is, well, I've got 1/2 multiplied by 1.4 plus 3 times by 2.4 times by 2.5, so it turns out we get 13.2 meters cubed. And if I convert this into litres by multiplying by 1,000, I would end up with 100 litres. So therefore, well, what else I know is if I work out 85% of the volume, 85% of the 1,200 litres, so if I take this value, times it by 1,000, and then work out 85% of this, I get 11,220 litres. So what we need to do is find out how long it will take to fill this amount. So the time it takes to fill this amount, so the time taken to fill this amount will equal 11220 litres, and then I need to divide this by 300 litres per minute. And if I work out what this is, we get 37.4 minutes. So what I need to do now is 37.4, subtract the 1, and the reason I subtract this 1 is because I already know that after 1 minute the tank's already got 300 litres filled in. So we need another 36.4 minutes to fill the tank completely. Then the assumption about the flow rate of the oil could be wrong. We have to explain how this could affect our answer in part A. Well, if the flow rate is lower than 300 litres per minute, then it would take longer to fill the tank. Question number 30. In the diagram, all measurements are in centimetres. Now, the perimeter of the quadrilateral is twice the perimeter of the triangle, and we have to work out the perimeter of the quadrilateral. So we've got the quadrilateral and we've got the triangle, And we know that the perimeter of the quadrilateral is twice the perimeter of the triangle. So if I call this quadrilateral 1, and if I call this triangle 2, then the perimeter of 1 is equal to, well, I've got the 2x plus another 3x plus the x minus 3 plus the 2x minus 1. The perimeter of 1 is equal to 8x minus 4. And now we can find the perimeter of the triangle. The perimeter of the triangle, we'll call this 2. We've got x plus 3 plus another x plus 3 plus the 5. So we end up with 2x plus 11. And therefore, what we have is the perimeter of the quadrilateral, 8x minus 4, equaling twice the perimeter of the triangle, 2x plus 11. This is what we're told in the question. So, let's expand and simplify. We've got 8x minus 4 equals 4x plus 22. Now we need to simplify this equation. Now the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 4x from both sides. So I've got 4x minus 4 equals 22. Then I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So I get 4x equals 26. And if I now divide both sides by 4, you will find x to equal 6.5. So knowing that x is equal to 6.5, what we have to do is find the perimeter of the quadrilateral. So therefore, the perimeter of the quadrilateral, we've got 8 times by 6.5 minus 4. So if I work this out, I get 48 centimeters. So the perimeter is 48 centimeters.